All right, hello everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of 22 Minutes with Jayson and Stefan. I'm your host, or one of the hosts here, Jayson Bates, and we live right here in Phoenix, Arizona, and we appreciate you taking time out of your day to listen to what we have to say. Really do appreciate that.
I'm the other host, Stefan Cotton, and I also live around Phoenix. And then what he said, yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of awkward, right? It's kind of like Phoenix. We kind of know you're in Phoenix because you're probably watching this on Facebook. Hopefully you are on Facebook Live. If you're not, you should go like our Facebook page and share with your friends and family, as we'd love the opportunity to earn your business. And then also, if you're watching this on YouTube, please subscribe to the YouTube channel. All right, so we've discovered here that 22 minutes goes by very, very quickly. So we want to bring you to the past week's top real estate stories. This is what we do each and every Monday. But before we do that, I want to share a little knowledge, I guess, with you. Not really knowledge, but a little.
It must be true because I've never known him to be wrong.
Right. Therefore, he must be true. So yeah, it's we're gonna try to bring in those tweets that we find so many people out there are very, very creative with their tweets. So we want to bring that out there and share that with you. All right, cool. So let's get to today's top stories here. And I'm moving this down here so everybody can see this. All right. So mortgage news stories. Let's get to that. And you may be wondering the green screen back here too. I don't know. You didn't ask me about that, Stefan, but
no,
I'm going to try to put some things back there too that will bring some more life to the broadcast.
You mean like after post-production?
During.
What?
During. High tech, man.
I like it.
Okay, so a big news story last week, the end of last week, was that there was a court, and Steph and I were talking about this a little bit off the air, but there was a big ruling last week. A judge had ruled that the CFPB overstepped its boundaries by making a ruling against PHH Mortgage. And part of that ruling, and I've mentioned this a few times before, but the ruling was the CFPB, and everybody's been complaining in the industry about the CFPB and their lack of or not lack thereof, but that nobody's really overseeing the CFPB. They kind of are this big Goliath giant in our industry that's really dictating the direction of everything that we do in our industry. And they made a pretty substantial, or try to impose a pretty substantial fine at PHH Mortgage because they were using some rules that were done by HUD, which was the governing body at the time that these things were put in place, which is they had some MSAs or marketing service agreements with brokerage, real estate companies. Now, these MSAs were put in place prior to the CFPB even being formed, so they were well within compliance, but the CFPB made a rule that these MSAs were not, I don't want to say constitutional. I don't know why that's coming into my mind here, but they were not right. They were not by today's standards. Therefore, they were wrong, and so they fined this company.
I like to compare them like NSA. You know how the national, they come in and tell you what to do and what not to do, and they feel like they govern everything.
It's a big deal. And I know for the consumer it may not seem like a big deal, but here's how the connection in my mind connects the consumer. I hear all the time how difficult it is to get a loan. It's just you're giving your left arm and right leg kind of thing. Well, this is one of the reasons why. When you have a government body who is telling you what you can and cannot do and the way in which you do it, and then not giving real clear, precise direction as to how to accomplish that, this is why a lot of companies are very, very hesitant to do a lot of things. I think it stifles creativity. I think it stifles imagination, hence the tweet there, right? Because all mortgage companies want to make a living. They all want to make money. And part of that is stepping out on a limb to have creative financing within reason, of course. We don't want to jeopardize the housing market. But there are certain things that can be done that we're not doing because we're afraid that the CFPB will throw a heavy fine at us. And you throw a heavy fine at us, we could be out of business. And so it just doesn't make good business sense.
Well, we talked about it maybe a week or two ago about the guy that got in trouble with these copies of $1,000 a page, and 1,000 pages, so he had $1 million fine. Drove him out of business.
Yeah.
Now, these ones are things that happened before they even came up with Cross, and I'm sure it's just as big. I'm getting a lot of reverb from mine. I'm getting like a 1 second delay.
Yeah, your sound went down a little bit. I don't know what happened there, but your sound went down. You may have to, I don't know, you may have to refresh.
All right, I'm going to refresh while you talk.
Okay. So, but while he comes back, and he'll come back here in just a second, why I think this is such a huge deal here is that you have the CFPB making this rule, and they are just imposing these fines without having any direction as to why they even make this rule. And it's really hard for us as lenders to really sit there and say, hey, look, you made this rule, but you're not really telling us why you made this rule. Therefore, we're looking at our own books here and trying to get a gauge as to what you're going to be looking for, and we have no idea. Therefore, we're just going to be very conservative in the approach that we take on loans and how we service them and how we underwrite them, everything that we do with them. And that then is translating to you, the consumer, as to a difficult situation. So hopefully is your sound better now?
No, you know what it is? You're coming in kind of breaking, like muffled.
Is it me?
Well, I can hear your side, and I can hear the echo on me, but like for you, it sounds like when you blow a speaker. Oh,
so maybe it's my sound. I'm hearing myself, and I sound pretty good, but I don't know. Maybe it is me.
We'll let the viewers decide. I don't know, but it's weird because I hear my own. I have to talk over myself because it's going over me.
Okay, well here I'll refresh too. You hold the stage here for just a second. Sorry about the technical difficulties here, everyone, but you hold the stage here. I'll refresh here.
All right, if you think it'll stay on.
Yeah, it'll stay on.
Okay, so talking. Canadian football peanut butter.
Canadian football peanut butter.
Yeah, that's the way I remember it. CFPB. Everything that Jayson was talking about and how it affects what we do as realtors or lenders or title companies for marketing has been put on hold for probably the last 12 months because people are getting fined for things that some things that they shouldn't be doing, some things that they're saying that shouldn't be done. And I wanted to tie that in with the other article I saw about the Dow Jones going up this last week.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, even maybe as early as today. They were talking about a lot of the reason the stock is kind of recovering for the month, because it was a bad month in October, was a lot of the tech stuff. And some of the tech stuff is related to realtors and lenders buying these either leads or these lead systems that are kind of generating income for the tech part of the Dow or the S&P or something.
Nice. Okay.
I sound better now, so hopefully.
Okay.
Do I sound better to you?
Yeah, you never broke sound for me. You sounded great the whole time, but that's part of live and that's part of what we do. So the show must go on. Okay, so that's a CFPB, that's a PHH mortgage deal ongoing. I don't think the CFPB is going to let it go and let it slide just because of this higher court ruling. So the saga will continue. But we are all watching this very closely in our industry. Okay, here's one thing that I wanted to bring up because this is something that I think is super duper important that's happening with trended credit. Trended credit, if you don't know already, trended credit, now credit reports are now evaluating how you pay your debt on a monthly basis. So, for example, if you make minimum payments on your credit card each and every month, then you're not going to be seen as favorable as somebody who pays that balance off every single month. So the credit agencies are now looking at how you actually pay your debt. One of the things that is interesting here is that now, and this is a big deal here in Arizona, HOAs are now Equifax is now allowing HOAs to start reporting on credit reports.
Are they going to report positive behavior or just negative behavior?
I would think that's probably going to be negative.
Right.
First and foremost. So for all of you out there paying HOAs or refusing to pay HOAs because they cited you for an ugly bush or not mowing your grass and you don't pay that HOA, it could affect your credit report, which is a big, big deal. Before, HOAs could what? Just attach a lien on the property, and if you sell, and that's pretty much it, right?
No, because if you short sell, if you were to short sell or foreclose, that HOA fine follows you. It's not attached so much to the property as it is to the individual.
Okay.
And so when we were talking, and we'll talk more about short sales, I'm sure later on, because I have a feeling that they're on the up. But if you have a short sale and you can't afford the mortgage and you have to move, and you have like a $5,000 HOA fine, you foreclose or you short sale, you still have to pay off that fine, and that's the biggest misnomer out there, I think, as far as if it forecloses, then we're good. But yeah, they attach it to you as an individual.
So now not only is it attached to you as an individual, but now it's going to start hitting your credit report, right? Which is going to cost you an interest rate and other things that it wasn't doing before. The other thing that's interesting about that too is that utility bills are also could possibly start showing up on credit reports.
I think that'll help people though, if they can also report positive. That's why when I try to help people establish credit, I don't tell them to pay it all the way off. I tell them to keep like a $100 balance or something, because that seemed to report higher, but versus the minimum. And then I've also told them some credit cards that report positive behavior, showing that you paid your bills on time, instead of some of those out there that just report negative behavior. So that's one of the questions you need to ask the credit card company that you're going to be using if they report positive behavior.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think it's going to be a negative thing initially. Now, Equifax is the only one that I've read so far. I'm sure the other two will follow very shortly. But it seems like they'll probably have to go through their backlog and hit all the people that are way behind on HOAs to get with them first before the positive ones are going to show up. It's pretty expensive to report on credit bureaus. So I don't know, HOAs, most people don't want their HOA fees to go up. And certainly they don't want them to go up because they have to report to a credit agency because one delinquent person in their neighborhood. So it'll be interesting to see how many actually partake in it, but it is opening that door. Same with utility companies. Some people will forego a utility because they need to pay the other things, credit card, car loan, whatever, because they're so protective of their credit report. So they'll put the utility bill on back burner kind of deal. And this kind of goes into, living paycheck to paycheck. And, we see that a lot with people needing down payment assistance and things like that. So manipulation of how they pay their bills and who gets paid first could have an impact on their credit and kind of be a detriment to what they're trying to accomplish. Okay, so next one here, USDA. USDA is rural housing here in Arizona. It's ever since the Census Bureau came out, 2010, a population thing or whatever, not as popular. Stefan, you probably encounter USDA loans more so on the west side of town, some parts of Buckeye and stuff like that.
Anthem, Buckeye.
But USDA is still several years away from delegated underwriting. I thought that was kind of a interesting thing. As technology comes in, we got new application coming on board. We've got, obviously the trended credit thing. USDA, which is a government arm, is still way behind the curve. And as well as I do, USDA loans can take a little bit longer to get through underwriting, therefore impeding your offer.
Well, the strength of your offer. It's a 0% down program. The interest rates, I think, are a little bit higher too. But it's one of those options for the 0% down If the seller is okay with waiting 45 days or around there to get the loan closed, then I think you're fine. Maybe a little longer.
Right.
I've done, you know, I do a lot of deals in Buckeye. I think there's a lot of other programs that we've been using. I mean, the VA loan, because we're over here by Luke. I've done way more VA loans than USDA loans for Buckeye.
Yeah.
I mean, plus now all the different Sapphire, the pathway to purchase, all that
Yep.
stuff.
Yep. Yeah, there's other down payment assistance programs that kind of squeezed USDA and made it a little bit stronger when you make your offer. Okay, last story I have here for this week is that student loan. You got a couple? Okay, cool. So student loans growing and redefaulting. So this is a big deal here. Student loans, a lot of millennials coming out of college, maybe have a difficult time getting into the job market, whatever. Student loan, the cost of a college education is skyrocketed over the past decade or so. Now it's problematic because your student loans, they never go away and they can't be discharged through a bankruptcy. So if you fall behind on your student loans, it's a bad thing. It's not a good thing. And it also can hurt the Cavers report, which is an FHA report that we pull as lenders that shows whether or not you're in default of any student loan debt, government debt, IRS debt, even child support. So student loans can be a big hurdle to have to cross.
Student loans, they don't go away, kind of like the other, like maybe something else you get in college, like an STD or something that might not ever go away. But the
hey now.
But the other thing is, a lot of the other article I read last week was talking about how a lot of the people are going to college and not finishing college. So they're getting these student loans that not necessarily are getting them higher income because after a year or two they decide maybe it's not for them.
Right.
So it's not just even graduating, then you can afford it, but not finishing and then not being able to afford it.
Yep, absolutely. Okay, so what do you have for us?
Well, we talked a little bit about Open Door last week or the week before. There's a couple places here. Open Door is in Texas, Dallas area. They're here, and they're also in like Las Vegas. Those are the three places they're at. We thought maybe California, but I found out it's Las Vegas is where they're opening up. So I did a couple things. I have about 4 or 5 listings, and I had Open Door write offers on 3 of them. Mm-hmm. Because you can do that as a listing agent. You can see what they look like. Their offers came in probably about 10% less than the list price. So they come in about on these ones. I'm not saying for all of them everywhere, but on mine they came in maybe house listed at 200. They came in about 8,000 less, and then 7,000 extra as a buffer. They said since we're going to list the house after you, and then still have to pay the commissions for the buyer's agent and things like that. So it's not as clean as you would think, or as they're saying. And then also OfferPad, I did the same scenario, and their offers are coming a little lower than Open Doors. But the topic for today was Open Door launched an app for the iPhone and Android, so that way buyers and consumers can use the app to maybe either ask for an offer or to get into the properties. Currently, right now, they use, I guess they use an app to get into the doors.
No, you actually text them. When you go to the thing, they have a big hamburger sign. You text a number, they send you the code, and then you punch that code in the lock.
Now it'll be an app.
Interesting.
So you can get all your information.
Interesting. Yeah, I want to talk a little bit more about this tomorrow on tomorrow's show too, because this is a trend. This whole Open Door, OfferPad, reduce real estate commissions, things like that. I want to talk about that tomorrow because this is a big trend and it can be a little bit disturbing. So I want to talk about that tomorrow.
Well, we also have a client that needed to get a cash offer quick.
Yep.
And so I reached out to them too. Hopefully, I hear those numbers today or tomorrow to see what that looks like for them.
Yep. Yeah, they can be very, very useful in a time of need, in a pinch kind of deal, but you're not going to get the highest and best offer. Very unrealistic to think that you would.
How much more time do we have? Can I talk about?
We have 2.5 minutes here.
Arizona Cardinals.
Do we want to talk about the Arizona Cardinals?
Oh my goodness!
Heart attack, cardiac Cardinals. My goodness gracious!
I had tickets to the game, and I hadn't been feeling good all weekend, so I gave them to somebody. And my wife and I were talking about the whole game, about how we would have to probably leave early if we were to go because of the traffic that it takes to get out of there.
Right.
And she has to be at work at like 6 in the morning. So we were. So then I told her about how I got to overtime, and then I was like, "Oh, they could win it right here." No, we'd still be watching it. Oh my goodness, it's so brutal, so sad.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on with the Cardinals, but why not give it to Johnson? I mean, on the half-yard line.
That guy's a workhorse, man. I mean, just feed him. He just feed him. I mean, he's corn-fed anyway from Iowa. Feed what do you call those corn grinders? Maybe that should be his nickname.
The corn grinder thingy. Let's
the
call him the
silo or something like that. Feed the silo or something.
Oh, the silo. Yeah, I thought the silo was more for storage, but yeah.
But yeah, maybe storage or whatever. But just feed that guy, man. Give him the ball. He was like a pinky toe away from having that touchdown as it was. Right. So just give it to him. But then we went for 4th and inches or 4th and a half a yard, and he got stopped too. So that defense of Seattle's is very, very good.
2 missed field goals, 1 field goal try we didn't try, and I think 1 touchdown we should have went for. But.
And that block was ridiculous at the beginning of the game.
Oh yeah, that should have been a flag.
Yeah. So tough day for our Arizona Cardinals. Which
I'll be talking a lot about that this week, I'm sure, with all my clients that are coming through.
Little depressing.
3-1.
I know.
Yes.
I know. Oh man. The good news is that it was against a team that we probably are going to be fighting for to win the division. So it wasn't against like the 49ers as a tie.
Right.
So it's a tie against a team that we're going to be facing again, and I'm sure. So hopefully we'll be okay.
I would have rather taken the dub.
Hey, too, I forgot to mention, we want to, if you want to reach out to the show, hashtag 22minutesAZ on Twitter, and we'll be sure and research that. If you want to reach out, ask a question, anything you want to say to the show, hashtag 22minutesAZ, and we'll be sure and reach back out to you.
Perfect.
All right, I think that does it for today. We are out of time, so thank you. We will see you tomorrow. Oh, one last thing I forgot to mention. We're probably going to start this at 9 o'clock. Right? Yeah. Let's start this at 9 o'clock every Monday through Friday. We'll start this at 9 o'clock. 8:30 seems to be a little bit hard for us to get together. Behind the scenes, it's a little difficult putting this thing together, but hopefully it's entertaining.
We're here. We're together at 8:30. It's just getting everything rolling.
Yeah. So. Making sure everything works, sound checks, all that kind of stuff can be a little difficult. And then we still had issues, as you saw today. So we're going to start this at 9 o'clock every day, and we'll see how that goes. Hopefully it'll be a little bit better for you.
I hope so.
All right, cool. Until next time, tomorrow, we will see you tomorrow, guys.
9 o'clock.
Bye-bye.